it's the Edmonton Journal or a number of other newspapers around the country have expressed strong support for the package. The reality is that this system needs to be fixed, and we all know that. And previous governments have understood this. I can go back and show you quotes from all of my liberal immigration ministerial predecessors who said that we need to streamline and reform the asylum system. And the department has had good ideas about how to do this for a very long time. But no government has been willing, frankly, to have the political courage to step up to the plate and to take the risk of making reforms. But I think it's too important to allow politics to get in the way. I think, I'm prepared to take on those who are opposed to sensible, balanced, and fair reforms. There are some who are, for whatever reason, afraid of change, afraid of, and they're married to the status quo, which isn't working. And I say to them, how can you defend a system which forces legitimate refugees to wait for over a year and a half to get a decision? How can you defend a system that doesn't have a full appeal for failed claimants? How can you defend a system that has where 60% of the claimants are found not to be in need of our protection, but who come and jump the immigration queue? How can you explain to families that are waiting for years and years to be reunited with their loved ones through family reunification, through the legal immigration process, how can you tell them they must continue to wait when other people can arrive at the airport without any proper approval or application, make what they know to be a false refugee claim, and receive a work permit, welfare benefits, health care coverage, etc.? How can I defend the integrity of our immigration system, the fairness of it, for those who wait patiently when they see others who abuse it by coming through the back door? So I feel an obligation to move forward on this. This has been a very carefully constructed package following extensive consultation, particularly in Parliament. And as I say, I am confident that it will be accepted. I have to say that I think this is a fairly broad consensus. Let me quote from the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ignatieff, who said last summer, and I quote, this is August 13, 2009, he said this in St. John's, Newfoundland, "If we've got a problem with the refugee system, let's fix it. I'm tough on that. I want a legitimate, lawful refugee system that, to get to the openness point, welcomes genuine refugees, that is, genuine convention refugees, and then says, look, there are a number of countries in the world in which we cannot accept a bona fide refugee claim because you don't have cause. You don't have just cause coming from those countries. It's rough and ready, but otherwise we'll have refugee fraud, and nobody wants that, including bona fide refugees, including bona fide immigrants. So I'm in favor of tough refugee regulations, but I think, etc." So I'm absolutely confident the official opposition will support this. I know that my friend Olivia Chow and some of her friends on the hard left of the political spectrum will be opposed to this because that's their ideological position. But I appeal to people to be open-minded about how we can improve this system. We're offering things that, refugee advocates have said they want an appeal division. They have them. They want enhanced targets for resettlement. They have it. They want increases in the refugee assistance program. It's in this package. They want faster removals for failed claimants. It's the core part of the package. They want faster protection for bona fide refugees. That's central to this package. My message to them is, can't you take yes for an answer?
I have a question. Who in Canada will get to decide what country is safe and what country is not safe?
Thank you. What we're proposing is that a panel, or a committee of senior public servants from different federal departments, in consultation with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, will examine the statistics to see if there are countries from which we are receiving a large number of asylum claims that are deemed to be unfounded. So that would be actually a very small, relatively small number of countries, only a handful. They would then take a look at human rights reports from NGOs, country reports from the Department of Foreign Affairs, from the UN, etc. And they would say, now, which of these countries have a democratic record, a strong human rights record, conform to international human rights standards, and provide protection for people who may be in difficult circumstances. So those would be basically the criteria. And then they would provide advice to the minister on the designation of a safe country of origin. So it would be essentially a panel of senior public servants consulting with the United Nations. But this is not, and let me be very, very clear about this. The idea is not to divide the world and all of the countries between good countries, bad countries, safe countries, unsafe countries. That's not the objective. The objective is only to focus on the small handful of countries where we have a very large number of unfounded asylum claims. I give you the example of 2004 Costa Rica, 2,000 claims, 99% unfounded. That's the kind of country that would come on the radar screen of that advisory committee, and then the committee would go deeper, look at the human rights record, look at the political system, look at the issue of protection, and if they felt, yes, it conforms to human rights standards, democratic, offers protection, and the IRB is already finding, in that case, 99% don't need our protection, then they would add it to the list. But Costa Ricans, in that case, would still have access to the same refugee system as they do now. There would be no restriction of access for anyone from any country or for any grounds of persecution whatsoever. There would be no restriction of access. And the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees has underscored that this is a legitimate part of an asylum system. He said last week in Ottawa, and I quote, "There are indeed safe countries of origin. There are indeed countries in which there is a presumption that refugee claims will probably be not as strong as in other countries," close quote. He said, Antonio Guterres said that in Ottawa last week, and he said to me privately, you just need to make sure that you don't deny access to the system for people from those countries, and we don't. All we do is to say to them, you get one appeal rather than two, which speeds up the process by about 4 months, and sends a message. You know, right now, I mentioned the Hungarian situation. I think you should all be aware of this. There is a criminal investigation ongoing out of Hamilton into, based on allegations from Hungarian citizens who arrived here and made refugee claims. They allege that they are victims of a human trafficking ring, that they are victims of a human trafficking ring that helped them to come to Canada, paid their one-way airfare, coached them on how to make a false asylum claim, then subsequently how to make a welfare application with Ontario, and have those funds diverted back to the criminal network. Now, it's my view that frequently when we see these very high spikes in unfounded claims from democratic countries, be it Hungary now or other countries in the past, there's an organized effort underneath of it. It's not happening by accident, by chance. And so we need to send a message to the people who organize those things that you can no longer abuse the system in Canada. And if we don't have a tool like the Safe Country of Origin designation to speed up the process a little bit, then we're left with one tool only, and that is the imposition of visas. Now, many of your readers or viewers come from countries which already have a visa requirement to come to Canada.